Hi, this is Toby from LITH-TECH Mobility. So in today's video, we're going to be filming our flagship model. This is our Smart Chair XXL. So the XXL is the slightly wider version of the Smart Chair X. So the main differences are, on the Smart Chair X, we have 45 centimetres between the armrests, and on the Smart Chair XXL, we've got 52. So that just means that suits people if they've got a sort of a larger height to weight ratio, or maybe a little bit bummy, a little bit hippie, or just carry a little bit more weight in general. So the max user weight of the XXL is 145 kilos. On the XXL, there's also a little bit of extra strengthening through what's called the U-bar. That's that bit here. So that can take the extra weight. I think the X is about 130 kg. At the back, we've got 250 watt brushless motors. This chair has probably the best brushless motors on the market. They're far more torquier than the standard 250 watts, meaning that when it comes to hills, it will blitz up hills much quicker and easier. Also, the freewheel mode works much better. So I can literally buzz this chair across the room. I mean, I don't want it to crash too much, but with very little force, I can easily whiz that along and through to the other side. Whereas most chairs would stop instantly. I can't apply too much force, I don't want to crash into any of the other chairs. But you just have to take my word for it. This is my little finger. You know, it's incredibly easy to manoeuvre, which means walking behind it or having to push someone of a little bit of extra weight if you have to. So let's say the batteries go, or they don't feel confident operating it in a built-up area and you want to take over and push your partner from behind. It means that it's going to be much easier to push them because there's far less resistance. We'll look at folding and unfolding. Real simple on this chair, so all I'm doing there is locking out the motor so I can use the back wheels as a pivot. It's got a catch here you unlock, so I'm just going to ping that up like so. And then what we're going to do is stand to the side and behind the chair, bring the chair back, and we just bring our hands together. Wheels can tuck in just so it looks a little bit nicer. The reverse process of that would be we'd stand forward. We're going to tilt the chair forward so gravity is already starting to undo it, and so, and we're just going to push and it unfolds. So I'm going to do it again. So push back till it's bang in the middle of you, bring your hands together. That way we've got the weight and the gravity back, so all we have to do is fold it gently. And actually if we do that correctly, it's not a strength thing at all. Here we go, little fingers again. So what I'm trying to show you when I'm using my little fingers is people then can't turn around and go, oh, we're not strong enough, because if I can do it with my two little fingers, then people can do it with their whole hands. Just trying to show it's not a strength thing, it's all about technique. And another way which suits a lot of people's disabilities, because you end up in the most secure and stable position known to mankind, is starting from behind with your thighs touching, reverse grip, and throw it forward. That is the most secure and stable position known to mankind. So if someone has MS or bad balance or whatever, weak legs, that's a great way of unfolding your chair. Right, so I'm going to lock that on. We're going to talk about batteries now. So the Smart Chair X and XXL, they come with 2 times 10Ah batteries. 10Ah batteries are going to give you more range, and especially with 2 of them. So you've got about a treadmill range. So treadmill range is basically, if you were to stick this chair on a treadmill, it will go 20 miles until the batteries run out. Once you add user weight and things like that, it's just going to bring the range down. You're looking at about 14 to 16. If someone's really heavy, you're looking maybe at about 10. But 2 10Ah batteries are obviously going to give you much more range. The only downside to 2 10Ah batteries is, whereas on all of our other chairs, they're plane safe on every airline in the world, 2 10Hs are not plane safe on every airline in the whole world. You can get away with 2 10Hs on some airlines, some of the longer haul flights, and also Jet2, for whatever reason, don't mind 2 10Ah batteries. But yeah, a lot of the airlines are just 1, and I think even, Aer Lingus said they won't even accept 110. So we had a customer inquire about that the other day, and they were like, we'll only accept 6Ah batteries, so they don't have an overall wattage output. They're just very, very blanket, no, only 6Ah batteries. So I'm just going to show you how to remove these. So I'm just going to lock off the chair. So to lock the chair off so it's stationary, we just go tap, tap. That's now stationary mode. Also, when the joystick is attached, that's how we'd use the chair electrically. So I'm going to show you how to remove the battery. So this is your leading lead. That takes you to what's called a control unit, which is the brain underneath the chair. So I'm going to undo that by twisting this little catch, and then pulling. So what I was actually doing is twisting that around, which then locks onto the battery. And then underneath, you've just got two little clips, which you've kind of pinned back. When the clips go back in, those clips then lock into these little spaces here. As you can see, you've got 3 battery slots. 1, 2, 3. That means we could even add a third 10 and we would just link the batteries up, meaning you're going to get even more range, you know, probably be more like 25 miles, something like that, which is obviously quite excessive. But if one is a heavier individual, 3 batteries might be the ticket. If you need to go out for a whole day and you live in an incredibly hilly place, I mean, Bournemouth is a perfect example where you've got hills everywhere up and down to the beach and going along near the promenade. So in those types of environments, you're going to use far more battery. The other type of environment would be, we've got a lot of customers in the Highlands. Pretty much all the people in the Highlands go for the X or the XXL, and they're going to use much more battery because of the terrain. So the harder your chair has to work, the more battery you're going to use. Cool, so this chair comes with 12.5-inch solid rubber tyres. We only use rubber on our wheelchairs because they're far safer, they're far grippier, they last longer, they're harder wearing, the list goes on. All cheap wheelchairs are all going to use PU at the back, but you get what you pay for. In the end of the day, PU are going to be slippery, dangerous, they're going to leave black marks everywhere, and yeah, that's not very good, and they're going to wear out in a couple of years. These will last you the life of your chair, unless you're a really, really hard user or a little bit extra, a bit weightier. At the front, we've got our 8-inch spongy wheels, which will aid you with going up and down curbs, holding your position on a camber, going over rough terrain and undulated ground. It's going to kind of take the cushioning out of it. No, add more cushioning to the chair. Armrests come up and down, so if you go up and down to, so this bit's dead vertical, the armrest will go up and down, no problem at all. However, if you lock it out, then your armrests aren't going down. The reason why you can lock it out is it means it gives you options for coming in from the side. So I can find the armrest in this hand, but I can now also lower myself down and put my weight on it. Obviously, if you're a heavier individual, you don't want to put too much weight, but you can lower yourself in and out a little bit, and it means that you can then just a quarter turn you sit in. The advantage of having it locked out is now, from an elevated point, I can push myself out of the chair a little bit like a crutch. Right, so to get this down now, and we do have customers sometimes that get this stuck and they don't know how to get it down. So what all you do, if you ever do get it stuck or you have it in that locked out position, you just push on the join and then bring it down. So it will go up and down all day long as that bit's vertical. But if it goes hyperextended or past the point of vertical, you just push down on the join. Okay, so I'm now going to attach a joystick. We're going to go for a little ride. So to attach the joystick, we just pop it in the end here and twist the cap till it pinches. If you've got a shorter reach, you want it all the way in. If you've got a longer reach, you have it all the way out. I'm kind of mid-reach for me, so I have it around here. You've got, well, a white arrow once upon a time on this. This is like a 3-year-old chair. A white arrow in here, line your white arrows up and twist. You'll see on this particular chair that they've got loose wires. The reason why all our demo chairs wires are loose is because we've got people that are right and left-handed coming in all the time. So rather than us doing up and undoing cable ties constantly, we just leave a loose wire so we can transfer it to the other side quickly for demonstrations. Right, I'm 5'10", I weigh about 13.5 stone. I'm actually going to go for the upgraded cushion when we go out and about. Reason being is because for me, I find it more comfortable, but it also helps to stretch my legs out a little bit. So you've got quite a pronounced footplate here. So it's quite a drawn out seating position, which is good for people if they've got longer legs or carry a little bit more weight. But also you'll see that this footplate is, I don't know if you can get the camera low enough, but it's not a flat footplate, it's angled. What that helps to do is it helps to pin you back in your chair more. So when you're going over the bumpy stuff, it stops your feet from coming off. But what it also does with an angled footplate, it takes a lot of pressure off your lower back and your legs. So that whole kind of thing of you need right angles, it doesn't apply so much when you've got a angular footplate. So if I'm like even more angled like that, then the whole kind of, but my knees are up here, it doesn't apply at all. So the whole right angles only applies if you've got a dead flat footplate. Right, let's open up the door, and I'm going to actually freewheel it outside. It's quite, I got round there yesterday in the Compact Plus. I probably could get round if I put the footplate up, but obviously it's a multi-terrain chair, and so that's another thing with this chair. It's great. You can literally, everything's really easy to get to, so I can do that all with my feet. Please don't boot them, but you can certainly very quickly and very easy just go tap tap, so there's no bending. Right, I'm going to hold on to behind, and we're going to go outside. I'm going to do some curbs, some cambers, show you how it copes with UK pavements. Yeah, and go over a couple of lumps and bumps. Right, so I'm going to demonstrate getting in another way this time. So obviously the foot plates come up. So what one can do is they can back on into the chair, find the armrest and lower yourself in. Foot plate then comes down and we're ready to go. Okay, so best way of holding these joysticks is creating a V. So you're actually using the crevice of your hand, not your fingers. Here is 3 times more sensitive than around here. So you're going to get most control when this part of your hand is around the joystick, keeping that stable, and then you're just guiding the chair. To stop, you just take your hand off, and it's electromagnetic brakes, so they'll kick in instantly, whether you're on the flat, the uphill or a downhill. You can hold it like that, but just whatever you do, don't try and hold it like that or like that. It is just a nightmare to control, especially with this chair as it's very powerful, it's very responsive. If you don't hold it like that, you could get yourself into some problems, especially using it inside. Right, let's go. I won't go too fast because otherwise the camera won't be able to keep up with me, but we'll kind of leisurely make our way out. I mean, I'll put the speed up a little bit. I'm not quite sure what this is programmed to and who was in it last, but it does pick up speed quite rapidly. It's got a bit of oomph, which is nice. A lot of our customers don't want to be too slow. However, if you do want to be a little bit slower and more controlled, but still have the SmartChair X or XXL capabilities, we'll just program the chair down for you, which will take out the joystick sensitivity, the punchiness of the chair and top speed. So when we approach stuff like this, dead square, front 2 wheels hit at the same time, followed by your back 2 wheels. We're going to go over here, which will basically going to mimic cobblestones. I'm actually going to come off a full curb, which I haven't done in ages, but not for everyone. Not ideal for everyone to be doing that, but it does show you the kind of capabilities of the chair. Obviously, same again, if you carry more weight, don't try doing stuff like that, but it's just to show you what the chair can do. Right, we'll go off and do some curbs now. Okay, so we're going to have a look at doing drop curbs first of all. So what you want to do when you're doing a drop curbs, you want to come towards it. So you can use what's called a pulsing technique here. So it's a short jab, stop, start, and it lines you up without overshooting it. Where I want to end up is my front wheel about an inch away. So about that. Now I want to stay what's called neutral, which is where you kind of sit back and you don't. Last thing you want to do is you don't want to lean in forward because that puts all the weight into your front wheels. So I'm going to stay neutral. My front wheels will compress the curb and it will climb it easily. To come off the curb, we always want to be square. So we'll whip the chair around and we're going to come off square. Well, square as can be anyway. Right, I'm going to do a camber now. So on this pavement here, we've actually got a left to right camber. So what a camber is, if the camera can pick it up, a camber is a pavement with a slope. So this particular pavement slopes from left to right. That means when I'm going along here, if I don't combat it, my front wheels are going to want to push me towards the road. That is further exacerbated by an added weight. So if you've got something that's rear wheel drive, front wheel independent, which basically means that these front wheels spin and have a mind of their own, and then you add extra weight, your chair is going to move around much more on cambers and in general. Right, so what I'm going to do is point the joystick top left at like 11 o'clock, and I'm going to steer slightly into the camber. That's going to keep me dead straight. And we're going to go round the corner. come down off this curb. So this is a little camber here. You always want to come off square. Something like this, we come off slow and steady, like so. Right, I'm going to show you its max curb climb forward and its max curb climb in reverse. So just before I do this, I'm going to show you how you know what your chair's max curb climb is. So, on this chair, if you're to split each wheel into 4 separate quarters, so there's your front wheel, and if you split that into 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3, 4, the bottom quarter of either of these wheels is your max curb climb. So what that relates to is a quarter curb going forward and about a half curb in reverse. So obviously this is 12.5 inch versus sort of 7 3/4 inch, 8 inch. Okay, when I approach this sort of style curb, which is definitely a quarter curb, you want to be dead square on. I'm going to roll up to it, about an inch stop, and it's imperative that you do a little inch or two. The wheels are going to dig in, it's going to lift, and it's going to roll me comfortably over. When I come off this curb now, I need to create the height so I can whip it round, so I can come off dead square and safely. But I'm going to show you how to reverse up a curb now. See, when you reverse up a curb, you don't start close to it, you want to start about 5 feet away. If you just, I'll tell you what, Kyle, if you just come look at my joystick and I can show people what I'm doing with my hand. So when I drive forward, I have that grip. When I go in reverse, I have what's called a pinch grip. Straight away, that brings my elbow in. That means when I pull back on this, I'm pulling back straight. So I want to bring that joystick toggle in line with here. If I was to keep that grip and pull back, do you see how I pull back to the side, which means my wheelchair is going to go that way? So I do reverse, pinch the grip, pull straight back. I want my front wheels to spin. Once they've spun, I'm going to stop. I now have to straighten, it's windy. I now have to straighten myself up, and then once I'm straight, I'm going to keep that pinch grip. I'm just going to pull it straight back. My back 2 wheels are going to hit at the same time, followed by my front 2 wheels, and then that's how we get up curbs safely. And that way, I can go up at least a good quarter, a big quarter, or a good half curb, all weight dependent. Again, obviously, the heavier you are, you can't do as bigger curbs and things like that. It's just going to put more strain on the chair. So this is a very typical English pavement here. We've got drain pipes. We've got this time a right to left camber, so I'm going to be steering at 1 o'clock on the joystick into that slope. We've got loose grit and gravel, yeah, and potholes. It's just a typical English rubbishy pavement. If I was to take my hand off now, straight away, my wheels, do you see how they start to turn that way in the direction of the slope? So you just want to be careful with that and constantly steer into the slope. I'm going to follow this the whole way round, like a little racetrack. Wacky racer style. And then we're going to come down up here, turn in, come off this curb. Right. And now we're just going to slowly make our way back. What I might do, actually, just so I'm really naughty and trying not to get in trouble, I might go over that person's grass. It's a little bit naughty, to be fair. So I tackled grass fine. Shouldn't really have done that, to be honest, but I did. Off the chair, off the curb and down. And I'll tell you what, we might as well finish the video here rather than you watching me drive all the way just back to the unit. So I'm just going to do a couple of spins on the spot so you can see the turning circle. Incredibly manoeuvrable, meaning it's still great for pubs, restaurants, theatres, around the home, care homes, hospitals, but where this is in its element is obviously outside. If you're interested in a really capable chair which is comfortable, diverse, but you can still use inside, but great for walking the dogs, yeah, buy the Smart Chair XXL. It is honestly probably the most capable chair on the market, especially the most capable XL chair. I'm just about to get run over here, so we're just backing up. Cool, and that's it. I didn't get